Hello. Hope everybody's doing well. So I'm gonna get done with some painting today. I've watched a very interesting video of a guy painting a pixie in concept art or illustration art, sorry. So I've gotten a few ideas how he did his color matching and everything within layers. So we're gonna try that out today. At the moment she looks very Shrek-ish. We're gonna change that with bringing in some blues and purples and flesh tones. So, in saying that, let's grab a warmish orange and nice warm yellow. Might actually do a little bit of a desaturated yellow. You can save up on the white. Alright. So, let's see. Got to plug in my air compressor again. Might have to quickly do that. So let's grab that lead. Stand by. Alright, we're back. How's it, Graham? How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Really have to move my celery. How are you doing? How's the arm? I stood in the queue now for about 2 hours. Well, not 2 full hours, but long enough to stand around and wait for any news on the vaccines. So, luck would have it that me and the missus was 30th in line, and they only had 30 shots left. So as we were luckily waiting there was more people coming in as walk-ins, so odd that he just went away for the day. But then the guy at least said, like, yeah, just come in tomorrow morning first thing at 8 and then you can skip the line. So yeah, getting the first shot tomorrow, and then yeah, so see how that goes tomorrow. Alright, so let's see how I want to do this. What I think I first want to do is I want to lighten this up a little bit more again. I think we can do some of that quick work with the airbrush. So let's see how we can do this. Alright, I have an idea. Yeah, boy. Create a table. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you on board. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, no, look, the waiting wasn't too bad. Luckily it didn't rain on us because we were waiting outside. But yeah, lose tomorrow is another day, and then we can get it sorted tomorrow. So, no, other people registered and we just came as walk-ins. We can't be too upset, so at least we're getting it tomorrow. Let's just see. So we got some purple. So I'm just gonna shoot this from below to reintroduce some shadows. And as you can see, that's already having a big impact because of the nature of purple going over green. Celery, I don't know if you can see that, but still there underneath her here and here, there's still that leaking spot that does not want to dry up. And unfortunately, it's pretty cloudy today. Yeah, so it doesn't want to dry up. I'm not gonna put it outside because it's not gonna do much. Let's see if we can get some sneaky. Yeah, airbrush is fun for stuff like this because you could imagine like trying to do a quick glaze of purple just for that. It's gonna take a little bit of time. See if we can sneak a little bit more. In there. Where else can we squeeze some more? That's fine. So Grim, did you get any painting done last night? No, you said you did. You're gonna try to get some painting in. dump that out on a pallet because I don't want to waste all that paint. That's my little bottle. Yeah, but in other news, so around 10 o'clock our time, my boss, because we work from he's got a home office, so he's like, ah, shit, and we're like, okay, what's this now? So his kids in a more, not special needs, but more one-on-one school, so they got another little bit of a COVID outbreak at the school, so he was on his way back from school. So then he said, alright guys, see everybody back on Monday. They're all going back to go work from home again. So working from home till Monday, so that's why the stream can start a little bit earlier than usual. So that's at least allowing me to get closer to 3 hours instead of 2 hours, which is nice. And it feels like I can also kind of get a little bit more done during the painting session. So let's see. I was gonna do a few initial highlights and stuff with the airbrush and shading, and then I can bring everything back with a ink glaze with airbrush, just to bring back some of the saturation. So even though these colors are very bright, a little bit of white in them does tend to gray out a few things. So yeah. I just want to check something before I feel like a complete peanut. Great to Table Dioso stream, can give you a shout out. Always want to help our fellow painters out, so just sound off if you do stream that we can get Celery to drop a little shout out there for you. Alright. Oh, sneaky muzzle. So this is a very light color, so what I might have to do is try and position my airbrush so it doesn't fall over and spill everywhere. Try to just use something that is made for it, so it'd be a peanut. Yeah, streaming is a vibe. Me and Celery has this discussion a lot of times where we tend to paint a lot more off stream and get a lot more done, or at least I do over the weekends especially. So most of the times the streams is just for figuring out colors and just having a chat with you all. I'm just gonna quickly give this a go with the hairdryer. Sorry, celery, did I offend you by little celery? Won't happen again, I swear. Alright, let's do some color mixing first then. But to be honest, you're the one with the handbag and dress, so it suits. Alright, let's grab these two colors. So let's see if my little plan works. Have I even opened up this color yet? No, I haven't. That's nothing new. Where did I put my little poker faces in the camera? Let's grab a little bit more of a decent brush. Alright. I'm just going to be working with a mix between those two colors, adjusting some things. These fantasy paints are a lot more transparent. But we'll work on that by smoothing out quickly with the airbrush. I want to get in the habit of doing things like skin and stuff like that a little bit quicker with the airbrush, because especially with a Pixie in this case tends to have a lot more smooth skin, so might as well try it. Paint is very translucent. What's there in other news for today? Trying to think. Anything that cool happened? I don't really think about anything. Bit of a toss-up of a day. Being one moment at one place and then moving to the next. Yeah, not the biggest fan of working from home. Not because I get lazy or anything, it's just the monotony of doing the same thing over and over. The first lockdown was very much a challenge in trying to yeah, that as well. Trying to not go and sneak in a little bit of a sneaky paint session during work. It was also kind of a interesting challenge. It's very rough at the moment. With this paint being so translucent, it's quite hard to get a solid base coat going. We'll see how that dries. That's the only thing I have against some of the fantasy colors, especially greens and yellows. For a starter, they're not very opaque to begin with. So in this case, it might have been a better idea just to grab a normal or whatever green and try to get the work done with that. Yeah. Anyway, you can learn is with using this thing or using the paint and try to figure out how they all work. Let's see. So it's looking all very spotty at the moment. So let's make it look even a bit worse. So I was grabbing that lighter yellow. And this color is very translucent, so I'm just going to give this a blow again and then build off from that. Even on the wet palette you can see how low pigmented it is, where it's like basically no water in it, but it still just goes transparent instantly. So let's give a quick go of the hairdryer. No, of course this street just got this. That must be fun. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about it. Oh, this paint is hella translucent. Are you talking about this bust, Grim? Because at this moment I would rather swap this bust out for yours at the moment. Because the last whip you posted, that thing was looking very spicy. And it was also fun to see somebody new in the community paint a bust for the first time, what I'm always all about. Because I do kind of label myself as a bust painter, mostly. That does not surprise anybody who's seen the things I've painted. This paint is quite hectic with the low opacity. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, the only bad thing about for me is like I love the idea of painting having like late night sessions, but the only thing I know it always happens to me is, especially at night time, it's just the fatigue of the day starts to kick in, and then you start getting a little bit of the shakes, and then it's usually where I decide, let's just leave it for tomorrow, and then no painting happens. So I try to get all my painting done during the day if I can do it. Plus I don't have a little kiddo running around, so as a young adult I have a lot of time on my hands, or free time on my hands. Sure. Look at that. Where did that come from? Celery's got some mad gifts. Alright, so he's looking absolutely potato now. But hopefully we can sort that out. So last one go of the hairdryer, and then we can get in some airbrushing. Thanks for that shout out, Celery. Yeah, I could imagine, Grim. I'm in that weird position where I do want kids, or a kid at least, but I still have a lot of shit I still want to do. So I'd rather keep everything in check and then have myself some more time added to that, and then kiddos can come later. So let's see if we can actually get this on. Can. This painting there. I can imagine there's a lot of, I could only imagine there's a lot of sacrificing involved when you have a kid. The only perspective that I have from is like being a child from my parents that offered up a lot so that we could do or excel in other things. Yeah, I can imagine. a little bit better. What I want to do, and this is something I have to get more used to, is lighter colors doesn't cover very well, even though there is the same color underneath. So it's actually sometimes better just to add a little bit of a darker green to it, even though it's going to bring everything down, but at least you can still layer everything up again. So I'm just going to dry this off. So I wanted to take this, it's going to boost the saturation a little bit too much, so I think I'm just going to, there's white in this mix, so might not be a bad idea actually, so just stick to this one. Okay, just white goop coming out. Let's just see if there's... There we go. Don't know why that happens. Take a little bit of this. I'm just making it a little bit more saturated. A little bit of a more opaque color. Because we can always adjust colors as we go. Don't need to stress too much about that. Let's see. I can already see how much better that covers already. Now this is very green again. That's fine. Let's just put that there again. Right. I just want to see how loud this air dryer is actually, so just spam in the chat if it's way too loud to keep on, if I'm like having my mic on as well. Is it okay? Is it bad? Not so bad, but not great, I assume. Okay. So not too horrible. Saves me from... Okay, I know it's good enough. Just have to do it underneath the table then. Alright, so I'm not too crazy about that very like translucent greens, but I think we're gonna have to use it just to smooth some of this out. Grab some of that again. If we can do a little bit of a better job. Because some of that green's actually underneath now. Now it's actually not fighting so much to get a little bit more of a opaque coverage. Yeah, that is actually a good idea. Do I have dead flesh? I think I do. Because I do think I have used it for something in the past. Hey, Aerox. Aerox. Yeah, Aerox. Sorry. Hope you're doing well, friend. Welcome to the very undecisive stream. Me trying to figure out green flesh in a not so tedious speed. Let's just load up some of that. Get this horrible cheekbone patchiness covered up. Ah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'll show you something I did last week. I'm in this very fantasy kick at the moment, so I'll show you a bust I did last week. Well, I started with it 2 weeks ago on stream, but I did 90% of the work off stream. Alright, now here's that where this fantasy paint starts showing its strength of not covering up everything, but still allowing some of the underlaying work to show through. Ah, no, I don't want to be famous. Celery, panhammer. Please, friend. I am quite content with my mediocre popularity. That's fine. Thank you. So let's see. All good. Let's do this. Then we can build the highlights up a little bit, and then we can go back in again with some airbrushy brush. Let's get some of these features a little bit more colored. So it's still very rough, so I'm just gonna add some of that horrible yellow into this green. Brighten this up a little bit. Get the cheekbone, jawbone, cheekbone. Grim, do you paint mostly paint with Vallejo or GW paints? I know the few streams I catched you were painting mostly with Vallejo. What is your preference to paints? Always a nice hot topic for debate. Because everybody has a different love and hate for certain paints. And anybody else also can sound off. Obviously this discussion is not limited to me and Grim. Because I'm a very curious person. Mostly Vallejo, a few GW paints. Alright. Okay. I'm still curious to find somebody more of a your average painter has opinion on, say, something like the AK 3rd gen paints, because unless you can bring them in yourself into South Africa, there's no way of getting your hands on them. So if anybody does use them, what's your opinion? I would like to know. Not that I'm gonna go ahead and buy them just to bring them in. Yeah, I think I agree with that. The model color is a little bit of a better mix and stuff. The game color is okay for a lot of wet blending and stuff, but they've got a lot of, I don't know, funky colors. Isn't always that useful. Mostly layer. Yeah, I've heard that as well. The GW raids is very good, so I might pull the trigger on just getting some of the raids, because raids are horrible just to paint in general. Yeah. So what is your opinion on the 3rd gen colors compared to some of the other paints you use? So I don't want to go too bright and wonky. Still want to introduce some other different tones. I think we can smooth this out. Some sneaky airbrushing. Please move, good opacity. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I'm quite curious because I know if we can try, I really want to try the 3rd gen stuff and the Chimera colors, but my my paint obsession is a little bit out of hand. So I'd rather try to get more used to the colors I already have at hand. But yeah, I would still like to try them nonetheless. still use this green? Maybe. Keep it in the pot for now. I really have to get one of those little hooky things for the airbrush. Haven't found any of them, but gotta look for them. So I also got my humidifier running next to me, so I have to pull out the hairdryer, else I'm gonna wait for ages for the paint to dry. Alright, so let's introduce some shades first, and then we can move up again. So let's pull out this palette and see what we have to work with. I'd rather not use that brush for mixing. Let's grab some of this very translucent green, some purple in there. Not happy with that. So let's see what we can do with this. One thing I might do, grab some of this. So this is just a little bottle with this inside, the acrylic thinners. Tends to not make the finish satin, so yeah, water is also fine. I'm just getting a little bit more used to using this. I don't use it at all for airbrushing, which is quite weird, even though it is for airbrushing. But sometimes we do weird things, and it tends to just bind the pigments a little bit better together. Let's see how this goes on. And let's just smooth out some of these shadow areas. Just get some color variation back in. See if we can a bit too on the green side at the moment. So I haven't painted too much green skin, especially not this very light side of the green. Still just in the playing around phase, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And once I have a more concrete idea of what I'm doing, then it should speed up a little bit. I'm back, baby! Welcome back, so. Just introduce some little bit of a harder shadow here and there. We vexed, baby. Oh, there's this other thing that to wax vexed and ready to climax. I don't know. My one friend told me there's a t-shirt made for that, which I thought was very funny. Because everybody can get back to their single life business once everybody's vaccinated. So me being a very adult child thought that was very funny. And that's moving out some of these harsher transitions. And we're still very much in the rough phase. Really not caring too much about getting everything perfect. Agree with that. In my case, hopefully nothing goes south, because I really did not see myself going back into that world. A few years back I was in that for a very short while. I was like, this shit ain't for me anymore. And given at the time I was still living in Stellenbosch, it was probably the best place to be if you're single. Because the girl to guy ratio is about, what was the number? It was something stupid. I think it's like 5 or 6 to 1 girls to guys. So we always joked around, if you're single in Stellenbosch, there must be something wrong with you. Because yeah, having that odds in your favor and not having a girlfriend or a special type of friend, then I don't know what's going on. Alright. Now that we've done some shading, let's see if we can find that dead flesh. So dead flesh is a very greenish white color that I know. So let's put this on my lap. Let's see if we can spot it. That's bone white, don't want that. I know dead flesh is one of the grey caps because it is a game color. So we at least got that going for us. So let's see. Ah, I found it. It's one of those things. If you look long enough, you'll probably find it. If not, just try and get something else. Yeah, Celery, that troll you're painting is really picking up speed now. Really do like the... It's one of those things that I think we've both realized at the same time on getting like nice, I don't want to say blends, but interest is not having like constant brush, smooth brush strokes. We at least like have lines and textures and stuff. Because if you do it, nothing wrong with it, normal, like how you learn to paint, and you try to do certain things with that, then you tend to get nowhere near the result you want. So yeah, but yeah, it's looking very nice. see how this color looks. It's interesting. So, instead of going full in with that color, just do a slight mix of it. This yellow is complete poo-poo. Painting it for someone. Who can that be? I got my interest peaked. Now you have it peaked. So a crazy video the other day. Something I did not expect to see for a while. So for those who do not know who James Wapple is, he is a complete wizard when it comes to painting in all shapes and mediums. But it was the first time I saw him paint a 75mm model, and it was one of the models from the newest Loot Studios Kickstarter. And I must say, it was a very, very good paint job. So full video is also on the YouTubes. You just go ahead and Google James Wapple. You will see how a guy can paint up a 75mm model with base and everything within 3 hours. And then you get very sad because you realize you can't do the same thing. Which is always fun. Yeah, he does paint it with oils, but he does some crazy work. He does it, he painted the model in the style of, who's the blonde elf in Lord of the Rings? The one that goes really psycho in one of the scenes where Frodo is looking into that little water well thing. And then she goes all berserker for a second. I think, yeah, that one. But he painted her, or in reference of her. So he did like this full like see-through cloth with like lace patterns over it. I was like, okay man, jeez. Just give us people some hope to catch up one day. But to be honest, he's also been painting since he's been since he's like 6 or something, if I could remember correctly. Not miniatures, but fine art stuff, and then moved into our little world of miniature painting. So just comes down to practice at the end. It is very lacquer. And it's still struggling a little bit with the opacity, but it's fine. Can rather glaze everything up a little bit more harsh and then try to smooth everything out. And there it's actually picking up speed now. Thank you for that suggestion. Man is a wizard. But I wanted to say this, Grim. If you ever looked at people's like works like Michael Pizarski and all of that, so they got this very interesting blue-green they always work with. Now a few months back, Celery did a video for the best of videos on the Wildstorm Discord, and then I forward him a link to a video where a guy paints the Skeleton King, but he had the mix pretty much on point on that type of non-metallic metal. Now if I can find this color, I can show you. Yes, here we go. So Abyssal Blue, it's a very nice like dark, like it's just like a very dark blue, so nothing too special, but it does have like this slight interesting tone to it. So I actually want to show you this and to the other people. So you would think these two colors won't work together, especially you would just think it's gonna go into this like weird shade of blue. Oh, well, green, bluish. But what it does do is give you something quite interesting. I'm not gonna mix up too much of it. So they get this nice creamy type of color to it. Let's see if we can get to that tone. Can't remember the complete ratio of everything. I'm just trying to remember. Salary, can you remember what they highlighted this color with? Is it ivory or something? Where's my ivory? It was that skeleton video. I can't remember who had the video. Yes, to get a little bit more. This. Is very close to that tone, but it turns into this very blue, warm blue, gray, which works well for like a very different type of non-metallic. It's a little bit on the green side. See if this one works a little bit better. But I'll see if we can find that video again. But you'll find that it gives us very interesting like shift into the colors where I can actually just pull up one of the photos from Michael Pizarski. But basically that color they do sell in their Chimera bottles, like the special expansion set. So that's actually starting to dry a little bit more. So it gives us weird like greenish blue, dark greenish blue color to the metals. So let's see if that's the right one Celery picked up. Yes, exactly that one. So everyone in the chat,
and the darkest place,
you go follow that video. It explains or how he like paints it and those colors he used. But it's one of those colors I would never have thought of mixing together to get this really interesting warmish blue-green tone. So it's got a nice color. So hopefully that helps somebody out that didn't know how to mix that color, because I do tend to use it a lot for the box art stuff, especially like with Chimera and models like that. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. very much still in the sketchy phase of everything. Let's grab some of this medium. Get this paint a little bit more flowy. Okay, thanks. I'll check out the other video. So looking a little bit patchy, but that's okay. We'll sort that out very soon. So let's see. And pile up some paint there. Get that little highlight underneath the eye. Hey, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. So let's just see. We can't smooth out this little bit of a patchiness there. Gonna be a bit lazy and let's use the airbrush for it. Let's first dump this color. So is this the ones? Alright, all good. Thank you for joining and thanks again for the follow. And then hopefully, what's the time? 5 on this. No. Could be still on for quite a while. Oh wait, no, it's almost 6. Sorry. Still thinking in UK time. So let's just try and clean that out a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfectly clean. Give it a little bit of a extra bit of clear water through. Yeah, Graham, the joys of working with an airbrush on stream, eh? The constant back and forth. Let's take some of this darker color. In there, dump that in there. Just want a nice little glaze consistency. Let's quickly give that a go with the hairdryer. So celery feels like for me almost as if the bust is gonna take longer than the model took you. Or is just me talking crap now? For me it feels like that. Yeah, that's also true. You're very new but not bad at the bust thing. You've got a very good idea of how to expand your volumes and everything onto a bust. I was a little bit haphazard with that shading underneath the eye. I'm gonna have to try and get rid of that. So let's work on that little piece. Thanks, man. Since I've learned that don't go over previous colors with too much of a lighter color, you won't really go wrong. In this case, not perfect, but at least I'm learning how to do it. So it's one of the small failures where the bigger wins comes later on, as I like to say. And that dead flesh recommendation working very nicely. Didn't think of that color at all. Man, he's a wizard. Let's see. Colors are a little bit on the translucent side for me on this stage. Feels like I'm just doing a lot of small glazes. But let's do this rather. Let's take a fresh bit of this paint. Put it next to that dead flesh and just mix in a more opaque color of that. Let's see, that should be fine. A little bit of a middle mix between those two. It's almost when I had to grab my camera for some reason. Alright, let's just... Yeah, that's more like it. We're still very much in the sketching phase, so grab a little bit of that airbrush from this just to make the paint go a little bit. Try not to peel the paint, so let's not agitate that little piece. I'm looking for some new series recommendations as well, because we've been watching The Blacklist for some reason. It's like a very silly spin-off of like something like NCIS or something, but it's still has a lot of seasons left, but it's reaching that point where it's getting a little bit too predictable. So instead of spoiling this series for me, I think I'm just gonna stop it where it is now. Because I did the same thing with The Punisher. Season 1 was great, and then as soon as season 2 started, I already saw the warning lights, so I opted out to act like there was never a season 2. I don't want to ruin that shit for me. So, anybody has some good recommendations to watch with a significant other, please let me know as well. I have not actually watched Fargo. I think she actually started watching Fargo, but I don't know if she liked it or not. Ah yeah, I still want to watch Green Knight as well. Let's give some more roundness to this cheek. Hello. Ah, hallo. Gaan het? Goed, goed. Wil jy hallo sê vir die internet? Say hi to the internet. Where is it now? Lost my train of thought. So, hello daar. Yeah. Graham, it's almost like your wife on the stream the other day. She was walking past behind you and she looks at the camera and she's like duck and dive. Always funny seeing spouses on the on the streams because they don't know what to do. Not that we know much better what to do, but at least it's gives us a little bit more confidence. So in saying that we could have a longer stream today, the other lady that was just on poking her head around the corner, she's moving back to Joburg, so I think I might have to log off a bit earlier just to be a good boyfriend and chat a little bit with them. but let's first see how I feel. So it can still be a bit rough, so I'm not too worried. It still feels like I'm more in the sketching phase of trying to get everything nice and smoothed out. So that is one of my biggest issues I have, is jumping a little bit too quick into the refines stages of trying to stick to the sketch and refine. We're very still early into the sketching phase, and I also want to obviously work on the hair as well. I want to do too much work on the face and then be too scared to do any work on the face or on the hair with the airbrush. So that does look very rough at the moment, but that is fairly important to have in place. Just for the reason, if you look at the model from the front side, it clearly defines that jawline from either way. Only when you turn it around it gets a little funky, but not too much. And then obviously this side can still smooth everything out. But at least you know it's there in place instead of trying to carefully apply it once everything's at 90%. Yeah, let's give a little go with the airbrush. For that. Alright. So let's just give another go with this thin glaze just to get a little bit more opacity into that skin tone. Like you can see, it's barely doing anything. Yo, Ether, how you doing? The mad lad with the Dark Souls. Jeez, my brain froze there for a second. How you doing, friend? Oh yeah, I can pull her up on a image because she's way there in the back, so rather trying not to break all my stuff, I can bring her up on stream. So let's see, where's this completed works? Where's the money shot? So there she is. So all in all, fun model. I ended up like cutting off the crow by the feet to paint it separately, the same with the little lantern. So I'm happy with all the center parts. I feel like I could have still done a lot with the lantern, like doing edge highlights on the hot spots, and the crow I'm fine with. It's not too great, not too bad. Could have changed some, made the face a little bit more bright, but yeah, I'm mostly happy with the centerpiece. I still have to learn how to do proper like lips and stuff. She had this very pronounced brow, so I decided not to do eyebrows and just leave that like little dark line there as like an indication as something. I don't know what, but I was not too keen on doing eyebrows because I had to do the same color then as her hair would kind of stand out a little bit too much for my liking. So I opted to not do that. But on something like this where the eyebrows are sculpted on, it makes the life a little bit easier. Get rid of that. Thanks, Aoife. Appreciate it. But yeah, she was a little bit on the very large side of busts. So definitely not too keen on painting something that big as a bust. Especially this how she was like kind of displayed out. So if I can... Yeah, no. I watched a large piece of your stream today. At least like it looked like you were having fun trying to get over like that one guy's gear and everything. So it was fun to watch. So let's pop this back on. So my biggest issue with this model was everything's fine in the center, but she has both of her arms extends outwards, especially this one. So if I bring up, say, a other picture, and into infinity we go. So on this one is basically the best that shows that of how far this arm goes out forward. So it's just a very awkward bust to paint once you extend past like the, not the forearms, from the elbow backwards. So if they changed it up a little bit where it wasn't so crazy, I think it would be a much more enjoyable thing to paint. So, that's how we learn. Yeah, there's also, I don't think I have a picture where that side shows too much. No, I don't. Anyway. But yeah, like sneaky light cycle I'm doing on the jaw line, but the same on the other side, and then like just a little random line to indicate the roundness of the boob from the distance, and it kind of reads as that like a little bit of a underglow or under reflection. So I think it is time to bring in some shading again, just to bring out the contrast. So thanks, man. Yeah, I'm getting into that realm where I have to maybe start selling some of my stuff. But I think I'll probably mostly only sell the 3D printed stuff. The things that is casted is a little bit more closer to my like personal attachment to them. Like especially things like the Papa Jumbo, because he's a model I wanted to paint for a very long time. And it's one of those things that can go out of production. I doubt that he would anytime soon, but yeah, it's just one of those things where I'd rather hold on to pieces like him and the two robots the Phantoms, because they are currently out of production and maybe, well, not maybe, doubt that they're ever gonna come back onto the shelves. So I won't sell them for anything. I'd rather just keep them. So let's grab some of this purple. This is always the one thing with trying to get colors back into your pot after you dumped it out. That should be enough. So let's see, we want to introduce some shadows back. So it is still a very potent purple. I'm saying that I basically have spread everything out. Good job. See if this pipette trick works. Get rid of all the bubbles. Kind of working, not entirely. Still trying to figure out how to do that correctly. Then we can mix this down a lot. Something we want more. Almost had a poo poo. Let's quickly fix this. That's re-entering and putting in the needle. That would fix our little issue. All good, man. Grow foods. All good. Ether. Thanks for the lurk. So, just introducing some of these shadows back. Happy with bringing some of that over the already highlighted parts. Not too much of an issue. Because that slight purple also brings in a different type of tone. I'm happy with. And I can't see much now. So it doesn't let the skin look too dead. And places where you can sneak it onto like the collarbone, so it helps. So it does seem like a little bit back and forward, but it's fine. If anybody in chat does have any questions, still feel free to ask away. Do note that I'm not the end all painter. I'm mostly learning, just like everybody else. So. I should really get a thing for this airbrush. So let's see. Some interesting tones back, especially with the purple underneath on the skin now. At least looks like some life is introduced again. Now we can start smoothing out a little bit. I don't want to faff around with the airbrush too much from now. So what I might do is just quickly paint in this little necklace piece. So probably want the same color as the back hair piece, just for ease of colors. So let's see, what can we make that? Any suggestions? Always welcome. Because the dead flesh from Grim did help a lot. Let's see. Can make it that it's more or less also a orangey color, so it frames the face in between the hair and the necklace. Stash, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. So hopefully you like what you see. Just in the thinking phase now, trying to figure out what to do here. It's always fun. So I think we can go with the same color as the hair, and I used this as the contrast paint for that. So what I might do, just lighten up and darken the recesses on that. So let's do that. Instead of grabbing a other paint, can maybe achieve that with this purple. Let's just try and get this purple within the recesses. This might be watered down a little bit too much. A little bit runny, but that's fine. it bleeds over onto the skin is this crease shading. Let's not be a doofus, and we can be a little bit more aggressive because we are going to go over the top with the lighter color. Yeah. Not doing the best job of shading everything down, but it's doing something, which is fine. Give that some time to dry. And then we can grab a little bit of a finer point brush to build up some of the highlights again while it's drying. So let's see. Just going around, bringing that mix of that dead flesh, that light yellow back in. Doing little short strokes. Building it up. Layers up again. Let's just bring in more of that yellow. Yellow is very translucent. Gonna boost up the value, but we're not gonna lose too much information underneath. Just building that still up. That little highlight running up the side of the nose. My head getting in the way, not entirely. Looking so good. Oh, we're getting there. interesting. I think after that purple was brought in, it made everything a little bit less bland. It's nice. Struggling a little bit with the paint opacity, but we'll get there in the end. I assume you're not going to do any streaming tonight, Grim. Still trying to catch up a little bit, I assume. I'm on the fence. But if you do, let me know. I'll just pop off in the Discord and just say somewhere that you're gonna stream, that we can maybe get some more people on board on your stream. No, what's the point of streaming if you can't apply some free pressure onto yourself? All good, thanks, man. Eyes is a little bit framed. I have a better idea of what's going on here. That does tend to do a lot. Just framing the eyes. Let's group that in a little bit more. Can do the same for the other side. And then as always, right side is easier to paint than the left side. Trying to think how to get this going a little bit faster. And let's do some stippling. Trying to get more stripes than dots. Let's smooth those out. Back, baby. Then that's too much. Is trying to get an idea for this skin a little bit more. Thanks, man. Lazy painting, lazy painting. I'm resorting a little bit to stippling just to get these highlights built up. So I might do a little stripe and then just stipple around it to soften out the little line I made. Which as I can do. Saves you some time off trying to stipple a whole area. So for this instance, say we put a little line down there. You can just stipple around the area just to make it seem like it's a little bit more blended than anything else. And other place where you can also do it, especially on this one where I'm struggling to achieve it, is say underneath the eye, put down a little bit more of a opaque layer, go back, and then just stipple around that part. It blends in just a little bit better, and having this very harsh line running through. And as it dries, it gets a little bit muted more. So it feels like I'm missing something in the skin. It's not done yet. I'm just trying to think a little bit more into a step forward. Because this green color I have, or very light pale yellow, is not the color I want to end with. So I'm trying to think. Which I don't know what I want to do with it. Get this little piece here forward us a little bit more. Brighten up. These spots we don't have to worry too much about blending because it's just filling out that whole piece of color. And then here on the forehead, that's one of those spots where we can do some of that sneaky stipple blending. So we can take this stipples a little bit more further out. Break them up a little bit more. Let's clean this brush off a little bit. Getting a little bit jank. So it was for dinner, celery. Myself, I'm getting quite hungry myself. Nope. What was nope? Thought you went to go get food. Asked what was for dinner. I'm getting nope. Is what you ate not consumable? Oh, no, I didn't say anything about dinner. Prawn pasta, the man loves his prawns. That's one thing I know. Let's get in some of this poo poo yellow. Oh, fancy boy. His muzzle creeping around in the background, sending me pictures of plints, thinking he's very funny. One day we'll see it. Got how many days left? 30 something, 36 I think. Then everything will be revealed. So this yellow is not really helping me out in any way. But unfortunately I have to go with it because it isn't the color I'm kind of looking for. So let's see if we can fix this little void spot that doesn't want to get more bright. Stipple that out. It's looking a little bit pasty, but that's fine. A few glazes over that and it should sort it itself out. Now let's see. Can't do something about that, so let's add in a little bit of ivory, not ivory. Been watching too much Van Pletsen videos. The celery would attest. Gets very addictive for some reason. It's always fun to irritate the missus with the music as well. He knows. sorry. It got in the way there. Get a little bit of a zoom out to see if it looks a little bit more convincing from further away. Something more I'm seeing as well. Oh, that looks a little bit better. What do you think, guys? Look okay? Instead of having it super zoomed, you can see every little brush mistake. I think airbrush is cheating. Yeah, no, it is definitely. But yeah, I think your tune will change when you get one as well. Yeah, so I'm still trying to figure out how to do that freaking base, the plinth. So for you who've heard this story 1,000 times, I do apologize, but let's see if anybody else can give me maybe some advice. So this is the plinth is going on. So if I position where the two rods align, you can see the wings and the little bun goes past the back very far. So my idea I want to do is have a plinth with a backdrop, but have the backdrop extend back like normal. But obviously I have to do it at a slope to clear the wings and the bun. But then I want to have it bend back up, and then from the front have it as a T shape where it goes outwards again. And then it have it a slight curve, so it kind of wraps around the model. And then have like a full moon on the one side and this whole painted backdrop going around, so that the light source kind of makes sense, where it's much more bright on the one side and a lot more dark on the other side. So that is the plan. If I'm gonna be able to pull it off is a different story. But yeah, I think with this model it's a little bit more achievable because it's just a bust with no arms or anything. So I'm a little bit sad that I did put on the wings. I think it would have worked a little bit better if I just left out the wings. Just because if you look at the front piece, yeah. So yeah, that's the idea what I've got for this one. So I'm a little bit torn that I did put on the wings. It's a little bit too late now for that. I can probably try and remove it, but yeah, not too keen on that at the moment. So yeah. Hey Lonely. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll probably just sketch out the raised areas a little bit and then have like an ambient hue to them. Hope you're doing well done, Lonely. And then yeah, I'll just have it like kind of transition because I don't want to bring too much attention to the backside of the model. But yeah, she has a lot of hair. The other one I painted had even more hair. So this is a little bit of a still bad. I don't know why White Werewolf Tavern does such models with so much hair. You take like the hair is almost as much as the body is, so yeah, don't know why they do that. But anyway, so let's try and just fix this little forehead piece, and then we should be a little bit in a better position. So I'm working with that horrible yellow and ivory just to try and get a little bit more opacity out of the paint. See if we can fill that little center spot. Oh, that's still wet. Just do a sneaky little wet blend in between these two colors, so it smooths out that little transition a little bit better. Can add some of this brighter white yellow. Yeah. To probably try and get some of that. And is that strand of hair? And let's lighten up the eyelids as well. So muzzler, I keep on saying muzzler. Muzzle, when you say we're gonna do some tabletop simulator kingdom death. Should be interesting because I don't think me or Celery has any idea on how to play the game. So it should be fun. Come on, Celery, you know we're natural pros at anything we do. It doesn't really matter what we do, right? That's at least what I tell myself. Fantasy and reality is two complete different things. Definitely have to mat it down because that little satin spot on the head's gonna drive me cray. Cool pelican is long. Very true, very true. Let's just go with that. I'm okay with this side of the face. We have to refine a lot of things. And that's only the face, so I still have to do a lot of the parts on the chest and collarbones and all that stuff. So let's do a last quick little lookerino. So I'm quite pleased with the colors. It wasn't that involved, so if anybody was interested, big old swig in your ears. So where's the other two colors? I'm confused. My brain. Why am I so confused now? Where's the other color? Where's this the screen disappeared to? Did I use this? I don't know. I don't think so. Was it toxic waste? Oh, I think it was. Alright, so that was basically the colors for the skin, and then just obviously some of the purple airbrushed in between with the shading. So and obviously I did do just a quick run over with contrast paint over the model. So this warp lightning just thinned down. I ran that over the model, the same with the hair, just to see how everything would look over the pre-shading. And then just sketched a few things out and smoothed it out with the airbrush. And then introduced this for the highlights, just to not let it goes too yellow. And then just a little bit of ivory added to this canary yellow. So there's a lot more smoothing left to do. But yeah, I think it's coming on nicely. Didn't expect to go this way. But I think that little bit of purple again underneath and everywhere just brought in some nice color variation. So I won't pick on that too much. Also got a lot of stuff to do. Oh. At least feeling in that comfortable stage now. So, and even from the distance you can still make out everything. So yeah, the contrast can still go up a little bit more, obviously. So I might end up going up to pure ivory and then just glaze it down a little bit with a greenish tone. Preferably a ink, just so I don't lose any of the details underneath already painted. But yeah. So thank you everybody for joining tonight. It was a fun one. I think we hit 13 people at one stage, so that's always nice. Like I said earlier, we've got a friend over, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do a raid. So yeah, this is read the chat last piece, when everything goes to plan, when you can relax and just paint. Yeah, I think I'm also getting a little bit more into the habit of just doing what I wanted to do on stream. So usually when I would pull out the airbrush, I would just do it, and then, but on earlier streams I was like, it's a bit too noisy and it's a lot of laughing about, but I think it's a little bit more enjoyable for me and the people watching. It doesn't help I do a model completely off stream and 2 weeks later, hey, I finished this thing you guys saw like for 2 streams. So yeah, let's rather try to avoid that habit. But yeah, so no streams on Wednesday or Thursday. Got other plans for the Discord streams, so hopefully Saturday maybe or Sunday. So yeah, but just again thank everyone for joining, and then I'll see you guys and gals when I see you. So have a good night or day, afternoon, and stay safe, and then hopefully we'll catch each other again on the stream. Cheers everyone.